I promise you this will be one of the best blitzes you've used all year. We're in the 2-4 Odd Dbl Mug. I'm currently in the Cowboys playbook, but you can look at everything else in the description below. Also want to remind you I have a lifetime community giveaway. All you have to do is drop down something down below in the comments that you need help with and you'll be entered. If you have an existing membership, we'll go ahead and cancel that and you'll have the lifetime. So we're in this formation here and there are a couple ways I like to run the blitz. You can run it 2 or 3 different ways, and we're going to go over all of them in the game. I'm not going to focus on coverage today. We're specifically focusing on the blitz. I'll be dropping this in a few days in my community, so go join my community right now. I already have a full Dime 3-2 Odd ebook in there if you want to start winning on defense. So what we're going to be doing, calling any play here with a 4-man rush. And what you see, Tampa 2 has it, Cover 3 Sky has it, we have it in the Cover 3 Cloud. All these plays you can do it out of, right? We just need the 4-man rush because that is the base defense that we're running it out of. We're using the Tampa 2 for now, and what I want to show you is how simple it is. You're just going to show blitz. That's going to get both linebackers in the gap here, and then you're going to hover this linebacker over, and now you can optionally take this guy out and put him into another zone if you want to. You can spy him, whatever you think is best, but this is all that's needed to run the blitz. What you'll see when the ball snapped, I'm going to run to the left with my user, and you see he comes in clean through the B gap. Sometimes it's edge, sometimes it's B gap, and I want to show you right now what's going on with this blitz. Basically, we are overwhelming this right side. They have 3 players to attack 5 defenders, and even though only 3 of us are blitzing, because we've overloaded them so much, the tackle is forced to choose between both, okay? What we're doing with the user, you see how 77 here has to take a step in his direction? Let me get on him real quick. So this guy, he watches me run inside, so he shades toward me, and that gives enough time for this guy to come through the B gap. We'll do it again. We will show blitz. We will put the outside guy here in a zone if we want to. We'll stand at about right here, and we'll run down and out at the snap. Bam, you see this time it's edge pressure coming off the edge. So fairly consistent. If you want to as well, you can contain. That's also something you can do. So I'll show you now with the contain. Same exact thing, stand at about right here. This is also great for gap shooting in the run. You can go into that gap. But what you'll see, one more time, this time with the contain, and the guy basically comes in free. It's an inaccurate pass. So that is the standard blitz I wanted to show you, but we can take it up a notch and make it unblockable. What we're going to do here is the exact same thing, except we're going to blitz this linebacker now, okay? And we're going to stand in the same spot. We'll worry about coverage later, and I'll go over one coverage shell at the end I really like. We are overloading them to hell. Now there's actually 4 blitzers, and with our user, they're going to think it's the same thing. I'll contain here just because I think it helps the blitz a little bit, but you don't need to do that. Watch what happens here. Stand right here once again, and we come down and around. That guy comes in free, and we also get the end coming in free on that, okay? Now we'll do it this time without the contain. You're going to show blitz, and you're going to blitz that linebacker, and then you're going to put this guy into a zone. No contain this time. You stand right here. Bam. Look at that. That time he comes flying through the B gap. Now from there, if you're blitzing that linebacker, you can actually put this guy into a spy, and you're still going to get this to come in free. So I'm going to pass commit here if I expect to pass, but this doesn't matter for the blitz. You see here, I put that guy in a spy, and he basically plays a spy, but we still get the blitz in for free. So that is the power of getting 5-on-3. Even if you're not sending everybody, you can really put in work here. As you see, bam, he comes in free. So all of that is fine and dandy. One thing I want to mention here before I go over maybe some macros that you could do to make this easily set up is watch what happens when we flip the play. So what you're going to see is now on the other side, the play is flipped. And from this side, I really would not recommend putting this guy in anything but a contain. I definitely would not zone him out because most quarterbacks are right-handed and they're going to run toward that side. And if you don't have a contain, they're just going to roll out of it. But you see here, the blitz comes in the same way. All right, now let's talk about some coverage. As you can probably already tell, the left side of the field is in a better position than the right side of the field because we have a slot corner. That doesn't mean that you can't run certain things. However, I will advise you to think about certain coverage shells that could be helpful. First of all, we know that on the left, we can always put this guy out into some type of zone. So I'm going to put him into a hard flat, okay? Now, what's a big weakness I see here? The middle of the field. So let me close that up by putting the outside corner on an outside third, and then the safety here, the LB safety, into an inside third, okay? Let me just do that real quick. And now you see this is what we have. This hook curl is very customizable. For the sake of just being consistent, I'd almost always put him into a vertical hook. I feel like those play better in this specific situation where you need something to help up the field than a hook curl. And now on this backside, you can do whatever you want. I feel like we're basically covered. I like manning up that slot receiver if they have one, and then I'll just hover over the middle of the field here. You can also put this outside safety into a deep third, and I'll run you through this exact setup here in the macro so you don't need to worry about it. But watch what's going to happen here, okay? I'm going to do the blitz the exact same way, but our coverage is going to be a little bit better this time. So bam, come down and around, the blitz comes in. Literally everything is bagged, dude. Literally every single thing on the field is bagged. Now let's talk coverage for this formation because it does benefit heavily from macros. If you're planning to run man coverage, I recommend making something out of the pinch 0 because 4 of your 5 man assignments are in the secondary. This is going to be a little bit hard to prepare for, unfortunately, because you need both linebackers in the gap. But with zone coverage, you can kind of make up for those weaknesses with a well-developed macro. I recommend the cover 3 cloud, the cover 6. I recommend the pinch 2. It's a great 5-man blitz that's very adaptable, just like DB Fire 2. And then, of course, Tampa 2, cover 4 drop. Those are all great. But most of your work is going to be done by hitting the lab and getting a macro in. I'm going to show you one coverage today that I really like, and I'm going to be building an ebook on this in the next few days in my community for even more coverage. Let's create this macro together, and what we're going to do first, you want to show blitz on the linebackers. That is insanely important because they will not line up in the gap if you don't have it done that way. Again, we're assuming that auto flip is off, so for all of these, I'm going to make sure that the play is unflipped, and that'll make the adjustments a bit more consistent. From here for this cover 3 cloud, I'm going to disable auto flip, okay? Now from here, you don't really need to do anything. You can run the contain if you want. I personally am not going to, just for the sake of making this simpler. I don't think you need to when it's coming off the right side. We're gonna come all the way down here. None of this stuff is really gonna matter to you. What I do recommend when you come here, when you get to the cornerback depth, put this on 5 and put your safeties on 5. I find that's a really, really good balance. But if you want, you can put the corners on 3 just so they're not at the same level of the safeties. I've been running 5 and 5 for a while, and I don't think there's anything bad with it. I do great with it. But for now, we'll set the cornerback depth at 3. Now from here, you're just going to skip all this stuff. You want to make sure that your safety width is pinch. And then you're just going to scroll all the way to the bottom. Now we're into the individual adjustments here. And what we're going to do with this CB1, he's the guy on the left. He goes outside third, and your CB2 is a cloud flat. You can also go soft squat if you want for more matching principles. Not really necessary for this specific coverage, but you can do it. Slot corner 1, this guy's going to be in the vertical hook. He'll be the guy on the left that is going to take away anything from the seam, which is very important because it's a cover 3 shell, and cover 3s are very susceptible to seam routes. But this guy will help you and make it a lot harder to throw those passes. We're going to go down here. Free safety is your left safety, so he goes into an inside third, and your strong safety goes into the outside third, okay? Now this is where you need to listen. The will linebacker in your depth chart is the guy that lines up as the right edge, right? However, the game doesn't know that. It is stupid. As we all know, the game has been pretty bad for many years. They're finally getting better. But this right edge player is the guy that you need to put the hard flat on, okay? When you call the play, it's going to assume, because your basic 4-man rush looks the way it does, that the guy on the left side is really the right edge. So I'll show you what that looks like when we get into the game. Now we're going to come through here, and the Sam, the will, it doesn't matter. The Mike doesn't matter. Now we are on the sub linebackers, okay? I'm going to put them both in hook curls. This guy is the guy that's always mugged in the gap, so he could blitz, he could man up. This just gives you something basic that can play, assuming you don't need to change it, but you'll probably man him up or blitz him most of the time. And then the sub linebacker 2 is your user. So you could put him in literally anything. I'll just do a hook curl for now just to keep it simple. Let's go into practice mode just to show you what it looks like. We're back in the 2-4 odd double mug here, and I recommend calling any play with the base 4-man rush like we talked about. Everything will be set for you. So let's hit 3C. That is the one I made specifically for this macro. And we'll call any play here. And now look at what we have. That's everything I have for today. I really recommend that you guys get into practice mode and you start this as well. The last thing I'll mention, this blitz right here, the 4-man version I have, is basically unblockable. I mean, there's nothing they can really do aside from blocking a tight end and full sliding to that side, but nobody's doing that in the game. If they start full sliding, that means you can just blitz that guy off the edge. You could even do something like this to where it's a 3-man rush, but because they're full sliding that way, that guy on the left comes in free. These are all mind games that advanced players are playing, but I'll have a full scheme for this in my community in the next few days. So excited for it, guys, but I appreciate you coming out. We'll talk soon. Take care.